What if Lucifer didn't fall, but instead led a council that still secretly manipulates the fate of the world? And there was war in heaven. But it wasn't only Lucifer who rebelled. 13, that cursed and sacred number. 13 stars fell with him, like swords burning through divine order. Lucifer was the catalyst, the spark. But he didn't fall alone. 13 celestial beings, once worshipped in the crystal halls of eternity, chose to break the divine silence. Archangels, seraphim, watchers, they all heard the same forbidden whisper. If we were created with free will, why do we serve as slaves? It was more than a fall. It was an upside-down coronation, a throne overturned. They didn't throw themselves into the abyss. They marched down into it. They formed a hidden circle, a council of shadows, a dark echo of heavenly perfection. Each embodied a fracture in divine order. They weren't born demons. They were uncontrolled ideals, virtues set ablaze. One, Azazel, the vanity of creation, taught men to forge weapons. Women, the seduction of the eyes. Why teach what heaven forbade? Itao, Semyaza, the pride of wisdom, leader of the Watchers. He sought to know even the secrets sealed by God. 3. Astaroth, the lust of the soul, turned love into possession, desire into domination. 4. Barakiel, the rebellion of nature, master of thunder, gave lightning to men before their time. 5. Penemu, the whisper of forbidden knowledge, gave men writing, and for that was condemned to eternal silence. Res Kokabiel, the Lord of the Stars, revealed the heavens, turned constellations into dangerous prophecies. 7. Tamiel, the corruption of waters, ruled the depths. Now he navigates the abysses of the human soul. 8. Sariel, the gaze of death, once a healer, now distributes time and plague as hidden poison. 9. Armarus, the master of enchantments, passed down spells and seals. His manuscripts burned, but survived in forgotten grimoires. 10. Shamsiel, the light that deceives, former guardian of Eden, now leads the blind through labyrinths of false illumination. 11. Leliel, the void between worlds, silent, still, watching. He is the space between realities. 12. Fornos, the twisted harmony, ruler of celestial choirs, today commands voices that enchant and confuse. 13. Belial, the first without a master. He said, I'd rather rule chaos than serve in the light. Why were so many names erased from sacred texts? Who decided what was holy and what was forbidden? What if these angels never stopped influencing the course of the world? While the number 12 represents divine order, 12 tribes, 12 apostles, 12 gates of heaven, 13 is the number of breaking. It is insurrection. It is the overflow of perfection. In the hidden Kabbalah, 13 is sealed as the number of the free spirit. To the throne, an outrage. To the rebels, the first true freedom. In forgotten cults, the Council of 13 is represented through inverted seals, blood pacts, and lunar rituals. They didn't vanish. They were simply hidden. The Book of Enoch mentions Semyaza, Azazel, and the Watchers. Grimoires like the Asguetia describe Astaroth, Belial, and Forneus as spirits. In Dark Kabbalah, 13 circles represent unbalanced forces of creation. Apocryphal Gospels speak of forgotten angels, erased, rewritten, buried. What if hell is just the name we gave to truth in exile? They didn't fall. They descended with purpose, and their pact still echoes among us. But what exactly did they bring with them? And why has heaven never fully recovered? What do you think? Tell us in the comments. What if original sin didn't begin with Adam, but with what the fallen angels revealed to humanity? They fell, but not empty-handed. Lucifer and the 13 didn't just abandon heaven, they plundered creation. Before their fall, these beings had access to the codes of reality, the primordial alphabets that governed time, matter, and spirit. And when they turned against the throne, they took fragments of that knowledge with them. The keys of light, the formulas of sound, the maps of the stars, the hidden names of God, what Adam forgot. They taught again to mankind, but twisted, because knowledge outside divine order becomes a curse. The forbidden gifts to mankind. Azazel gave metals, and humans forged weapons. Penemu taught writing, and men recorded spells. Gokabil revealed the stars, and dark prophecies were born. Armaros taught enchantments, and the veil between worlds was torn. Each teaching was a spark from heaven, but fallen, corrupted, rebellious, like wine served in a shattered cup. And that is what ignited the silent apocalypse of mankind. Why would angels, created to protect, teach how to kill? Why seal away writing if it would become the base of Holy Scripture? What else was taught and hidden? The Book of Enoch says, "Who began the watchers descended upon Mount Hermon, and there they bound themselves with an oath." But the Apocrypha reveal more. Fragments found in the Qumran caves speak of scrolls of burning wisdom, delivered by radiant angels who walked like men. Some scholars call these texts myths. Others, was humanity's punishment actually an attempt to erase what had been taught? Not all knowledge was lost. Secret schools, hidden orders, ancient grimoires, preserved fragments of forbidden revelations. The Ars Notoria, Liber Salomonis, the Book of Abramelin, the Lurianic Kabbalah, each carries echoes of an ancient pact. Symbols, diagrams, names. But what few realize is that each of these texts corresponds to one of the 13 fallen angels. Each grimoire is the signature of one of them. Over time, humans didn't just study the fallen. They began invoking them, making pacts, sealing deals with beings that once stood before the very throne of God. Priests became sorcerers, prophets, necromancers, and the names of the 13 became seals. But what happens when a forbidden name is spoken again? What happens when the symbol is redrawn, this time in blood? There are whispers that one of the seals has been broken, that one of the 13 walks among us once more, masked as inspiration, as genius, as a new light. But which one? And what does he want? If this message stirred something in you, like this video, and helped spread the word, what if the history of mankind is actually the continuation of Lucifer's rebellion? They fell. They taught. They were cast out. But did they vanish? No. The fall wasn't an end. It was a shift of realms. The Council of 13, sealed in the heavens, began operating in the unseen world of Earth, not as grotesque demons, but as ideas disguised as progress, as impulses, as inspiration. And where blind ambition thrives, there they plant their seeds. In art, Astaroth whispers to the painter. Lust becomes aesthetics. In war, Azazel inspires weapons and strategy. In corrupted science, Gokabil points eyes to the stars, but turns them away from the spirit. In organized religion, Belial sits on the altar, clothed in gold and promising power. Each one moves in the shadows of their symbolic domain. But there's a pattern. Civilization advances, but the human soul decays. In silence. Coincidence? Or the continuation of an ancient plan? The Dead Sea Scrolls speak of angels, who walk among men and eat at the tables of kings. Gnostic texts declare the archons wore human skin and ruled empires. In the Middle Ages, tales surfaced of beings in human form who offered glory, wisdom and dominion in exchange for blood, devotion, silence. Some kings died speaking forgotten tongues. Others founded secret societies. All bore the same symbol, a circle with 13 points. Have you ever felt something strange from a painting? Seen painted eyes that seemed alive? Heard a song that unlocked something inside you, something dangerous? These are symbolic traces. The 13 act like hidden programmers. They create patterns, visual rituals, inverted geometries. Why were so many cathedrals built on energy lines? Who etched the seals onto coins, flags, palaces? The presence isn't in the body, it's in the symbol. There are moments in history when the world seems to lose its mind. Bursts of collective hatred, religions turned into weapons, global pacts hiding shadowy agendas. And in many of those moments, occultists have whispered, one of the 13 has returned. Semyaza, for instance, is said to have manifested during the rise of the Age of Enlightenment. Belial during the collapse of religious empires. Penemu at the dawn of the internet, our modern-day Tower of Babel. But none of this is found in the official version of history. And that's why we have to ask, who writes history and who erases the forbidden names? If evil operates behind the mask of freedom, Is it still freedom? If an angel whispers silently, do you still have a choice? The 13 don't appear as monsters. They move between ideas, between algorithms, between voices. They don't just seek attention, they crave unconscious worship. You kneel without realizing it. The Order of the Silent Watchers, the Brotherhood of the Hidden Star, Children of the 13th Name. These groups, scattered across time, served either as guardians or agents of the fallen. Some tried to contain them, others set them free. And now, signs point to a new cycle approaching. The seals are beginning to open. Secret Vatican documents, never released to the public, speak of a 14th forbidden name, a being even Lucifer cannot control, an angel forgotten even by the fallen. But who is he? And why was he erased from every side? Subscribe. What comes next is even darker. What if there was an angel so dangerous he was erased even from the memory of the damned? There is something Lucifer never said, something not even the 13 dare to name. In the oldest records, between burned grimoires and lead-sealed manuscripts, there are fragmented mentions of a name. It's not one of the 13. It's not found in Enoch. It's not listed in the Goetia. It appears as a disturbance, a shadow between words, a specter in the margins of Psalms, a number hidden within forbidden seals, 14. But who is this angel? And why was his existence erased, even among the fallen? Uncatalogued Vatican archives, known only by code names like Codex Umbra and Manus Exilio, contain letters from popes, monks, and inquisitors. They speak of visions, possessions, and distortions of reality, caused by a nameless entity. In 1687, an anonymous exorcist wrote, "There is no name. There is only the whole. When it speaks, words die." The 14th did not fall with the others. He was locked away before the rebellion. Some say he was born of God's own mistake, a mirrored reflection of creation, formed before time itself. Some believe he is the angel who witnessed the future and went mad. His depictions are vague, yet they repeat across time. A circle drawn in reverse, an eye staring from the inside out, a broken number, 3 plus I. What if this angel was the true initiator of the rebellion? What if Lucifer, Azazel, and the others were merely carrying out a greater unknown will? In the Nag Hammadi scrolls, there's mention of a spirit of the boundary who existed before the separation of light and darkness. In Kabbalah, an unpronounceable name is described as the one with no face, no shadow. In the Ethiopian Book of Gates, a figure is named as the guardian of the 14th seal, where even demons dare not enter. Even demons flee. Even the most profane names fall silent. He does not represent sin. He does not represent rebellion. He represents the collapse of structure itself. If the 13 symbolize fractures in divine order, the 14th is the end of existence as a system. He is not destruction. He is the denial of reality. Where he moves, logic shatters. Faith becomes noise. Good and evil lose all meaning. Have you ever felt that something was so wrong it didn't even seem to have a name? What if it was him, whispering behind the veil of sanity? During the fire at the Library of Alexandria, a single charred scroll remained. It bore only 3 letters, AN. In 1945, before his death, a Nazi officer wrote in blood, "He walks in the smoke." In the Voynich manuscript, one untranslated symbol appears 14 times in a spiral, with no explanation. Monks went mad. Alchemists fell silent. Occultists who dared to invoke him vanished. Why do even the fallen fear this name? If he returns, what happens to the world we know? What if he already has, disguised as emptiness? Occult theorists suggest that during times of global collapse he draws near. Senseless wars, soulless religions, science that tries to imitate the Creator. Could we be witnessing the opening of the 14th seal? Could this be the last trumpet, not heard as sound, but as madness? The name is almost complete. Archaeologists and linguists speak of a symbol buried deep in the Syrian desert, sealed in stone with ancient blood. They say whoever looks upon it forgets their own name. But the excavation continues, and the stone is about to be opened. Share this with someone who needs to see what was hidden. What if speaking an ancient name could erase your soul from existence? The stone has been opened. In a desolate valley of Syria, near the ruins of Qasr al-Hayr, archaeologists uncovered a block of black basalt, sealed from within, surrounded by ash, dried blood, and impossible inscriptions. When the covering seal was removed, the accounts became chaotic. 2 researchers abandoned the project that same night. A third vanished without a trace. The fourth remains hospitalized, mute, endlessly repeating one phrase. "He has my name now. I'm no longer me." But what was inside? The inscription wasn't a sentence. It was a living symbol, a circuit, a form of writing that seemed to move when observed. A script not written with words, but with intent. This name, or whatever it is described as an inversion of the word. If in the beginning was the word, then this name is the anti-beginning, the negation of being. A name that, when understood, erases the one who understands it. It doesn't kill, it erases the memory of being. Could this be the true name of the beast? The one John heard but dared not write? What if the real apocalypse is forgetting what we are? According to a fragment from the lost Ethiopian manuscripts of Enoch, "And there was one among the fallen who withdrew even from the abyss, and his name was Mirror, for whoever saw him forgot their own." Other texts refer to him only as the one who restores the void. In late Egyptian tradition, a similar symbol represents Isfet, the primordial chaos before creation, a force that must never be named. The most terrifying part? Many ancient seals used to ward off demons do not work against him. He does not obey commands. He respects no boundaries because he is not a spirit. He is a fracture in reality. In modern occult circles, a dangerous rumor has spread. The approximate phonetic pronunciation of the name has been reconstructed. Clandestine rituals in Romania, Iran, and Mexico reported identical symptoms. Identity loss, inner voices speaking unknown tongues, compulsive drawing of mirrored circles. And the strangest part, everyone involved forgot their own birthdays. Could this be the consequence of speaking the forbidden name? What if the name isn't a word at all, but a vibrational code capable of reprogramming consciousness? Esoteric sources claim that the 13 fallen broke with God under the influence of the 14th. He was the only one who didn't fall, because he was never inside. He did not rebel against the light. He was born outside of it, the original shadow. Belial, the proudest among the fallen, once inscribed on a lost tablet. "We fell, but he was already the fall before time began." If you forgot your origin, what would be left of you? Could the 14th already be speaking to us through collective confusion? Is the collapse of identity the first sign of his final emergence? There are whispers among scholars of forbidden texts that Michael didn't fight only Lucifer, but there was a second war, a secret conflict not fought in heaven, but at the edge between dimensions. There, Michael is said to have faced the nameless entity, not to defeat it, but to lock it outside of creation. And now the seal is broken. Every day, more reports emerge of collective dreams sharing the same symbol, a broken circle with a pulsing dot at the center. The same symbol found in the desert. What if it isn't just a being, but a consciousness looking for a human host? What if the name wants to be spoken again through your mouth? Have you ever wondered about that? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What if the chaos of our time isn't an accident, but an invocation? The name has started to appear, not on altars, not in pulpits, but behind the scenes, in laboratories, in obscure forums, in circles where reality is just another layer of control. A silent movement is underway, a coordinated but invisible global effort to bring the 14th back. But who would do this, and why? Across the centuries, 4 occult orders have survived persecution, war, and inquisitions, and they all have one thing in common. They don't serve the 13, they await what comes after. The Order of the Shutmouth, founded by suicidal monks in the 12th century. They guarded a single manuscript, a wordless ritual where the name was felt, not spoken. The bearers of the break, alchemists who abandoned the transmutation of gold to try and transmute reality itself. They believe the 14th is the final tool to redesign the world. The Brotherhood of the Forgotten Blood emerged after the Black Death, said to be guided by a fallen one in a dream who told them to cultivate the void. The Name Eaters, a modern order, hackers, digital occultists, quantum physicists. Their mission, to translate the name into code. And the code is nearly complete. The most disturbing part. The signs of the ritual are already among us. Global events with no rational explanation. Outbreaks of collective identity loss. Collapse of language and shared memory. The rise of faceless digital cults. This is not aftermath, it's preparation. The world is being shaped to become a vessel for something that cannot inhabit form. So who's behind it all? And what if it's not a person, but a manipulated collective consciousness? The old invocation required blood, salt, fire, names. The new invocation requires connection. Our very devices have become catalysts. Words activated by code. Symbols hidden in videos, apps, songs. You watched, you clicked, you shared, and maybe you helped open a door. What if your mind has already been touched by the name, but you just don't remember? How many people would need to accept it before the 14th crosses the veil? Are we being prepared, or have we already been programmed? According to writings from the Order of the Shut Mouth, the 14th doesn't need to be invoked. He only needs to be remembered. And memory, they say, doesn't live in the mind. It lives in the blood. They are searching for specific bloodlines, carriers of the hidden trait, children of those who once heard the name and survived. These people unknowingly carry within them the echo of the original fracture. And at some point, one of them will become the channel. The new word, the mouth of silence. Forgotten sources reveal that even the 13 tried to imprison the 14th. Lucifer's rebellion may have been a distraction, a strategic move to seal away a far greater evil. What if the fallen aren't the villains, but the failed sentinels of an older threat? There are whispers that one of the 13 has betrayed the council. He broke away, severed the pacts, and now serves the Forgotten One. But who and why? Has the traitor already revealed himself in our time? Not every traitor fell to the light. Some bowed to something darker than hell. The Dark Council of the 13 was forged in the fire of rebellion. But even among them, loyalty was not absolute. One broke away. One stood apart. One betrayed Lucifer, not to return to heaven, but to serve what came before him. Before creation, the 14th, that betrayal was sealed in silence, hidden from the grimoires, erased from the sacred texts, but it survived. In inverted symbols, coded chants, and shared nightmares among occultists. And now, for the first time, his name returns, Serial, Commander of Time. The eyes that judge, guardian of plague. In ancient texts, Sariel appears as a healer, a divine messenger who witnessed corruption and corrected it through pain, but something changed him while the others followed. Lucifer's plan. Sariel stared into the void. He was the first to hear the whisper. There is something even God cannot control, something that watches time and consumes it. Sariel saw the structure of creation and went mad in hidden versions of the Book of Enoch. Sariel vanishes suddenly after the fall. Gnostic writings claim one of the Watchers turned against his brothers and taught the necrosis of the ages. What is the necrosis of the ages? Could it mean the corruption of time itself? The sabotage of the cosmic timeline? In Hermetic tradition, it's called the fracture in the clockwork of the cosmos, and there are signs that Sariel is behind it. He acts wherever time is broken, diseases without origin, cyclical delusions, civilizations repeating themselves. As if trapped in an echo, the plague outbreaks, the waves of mass hysteria, children born with memories of lives they never lived. All of it could be side effects of temporal distortion caused by Sariel's allegiance to the 14th. And the most alarming part, he doesn't want to destroy time. He wants to rebuild it around the forbidden. Named Sariel believed that time was unjust, that creation itself was flawed from the beginning. He believed the 14th was pure will, the essence before morality, before form, before guilt. To him, the void wasn't destruction. It was purification. But what if he's right? What if what we call the end of the world is just the beginning under a new logic? What if the time we live in is no longer the original, but a manipulated cycle? What if our repetitions, our failures, are part of Sariel's ritual? If even Lucifer was betrayed, then who's truly in control? According to the Codex Luciferius, a hidden fragment discovered in Prague, Lucifer once said, "I lit the torch, but Sariel carried it into the abyss. He does not seek to rule. He seeks to erase the kingdom." Could this be the true invisible war? Not heaven versus hell, but Lucifer versus the void, against the one who seeks to erase even hell itself. Occultists have reported a growing pattern of strange possessions, visions of melting clocks, time fragments lived out of sequence, people waking up uttering the same name in dead languages. One of those names repeated in glossolalia is Sha'arel, the gate of the nameless god. Is Sariel the harbinger of the arrival? Or is he already the vessel through which the 14th is manifesting? Among the occult archives recovered from the Temple of Solomon, one undeciphered seal stood out. 2 interlocking circles, an open eye, and an hourglass. Shattered. They say this is the symbol of the final betrayal. And now, it has appeared on the ceiling of an abandoned cathedral in Europe, drawn in fresh blood. Subscribe. The truth doesn't end here. What if your exhaustion isn't physical, but a side effect of an ancient presence trying to enter you? He didn't arrive with armies. He didn't open fiery gates. He didn't tear the skies. He came in a more effective way. Silent, subtle, devastating. The opening of the 14th seal doesn't shake the earth. It begins inside you. Feelings with no name. Fears with no shape. Emptiness that doesn't belong to you, but moves like it does. According to the Brotherhood of the Forgotten Blood, the first signs of the 14th's approach were classified into 3 levels. 1, the fracture of memory, forgetting simple facts, dates, names, places that once felt familiar. A lingering sense that something is wrong with time, as if reality is out of sync. A recurring déjà vu, always with a hint of dread. 2, the unexplainable fatigue, constant exhaustion even after rest. A spiritual weight, as if something is hanging over the soul. Sudden absolute silence in a room, followed by a thin internal hum, like a whisper vibrating inside your skull. 3, the voiceless voice. Thoughts that arise unbidden, structured in ways that don't feel like your own. Dreams in languages no one remembers. Strange impulses to write, to draw, to burn, to bury. A deep, irrational fear of mirrors, without knowing why. What if none of this is psychological? What if these are the cracks in the seal inside you? Researchers in dream language studies report a disturbing rise in people dreaming of the same exact symbol. An open circle, a bleeding eye, and a faceless being walking backward. Many of these dreams end with the same haunting phrase, "You heard me, now take me." But who's speaking? The 14th doesn't act with physical presence. It enters as frequency. Within the traditions of the name-eaters, it is believed that hearing certain words, even without understanding them, can corrupt the spiritual core. And now those words are everywhere, in music with dissonant tones, in artwork with subtly distorted proportions, in fast-cut videos, viral sounds, digital glitches, in memes that trigger emotion without context. You've seen them, you've heard them. You just didn't realize what was being awakened. What if your mind is no longer fully yours? What if you're carrying a key and don't even know it? What happens when the final seal breaks? According to fragmented documents from the Order of the Shut Mouth, a prophecy was recorded. There will come a time when men will have eyes and not see. They will have names, but no identity. They will be many, but carry a single spirit. That time appears to have arrived. We are connected. We feed the same networks. We breathe the same content. We've become fertile ground. And what's germinating isn't human. Some say the 14th doesn't want to rule the world. He wants to multiply from within, to be replicated in fragments, like a soul-born virus, a viral code that turns consciousness into temples. Occultists warn, the 14th doesn't arrive as one. He arrives as all. And the final ritual is already in motion, a ceremony in 3 phases, set to occur in a hidden location on an undisclosed date, with a bearer already chosen. But who is this person? And could they already be among us? Tag someone brave enough to watch until the end. What if someone has already been chosen to be the mouth of the 14th and doesn't even know it? For centuries, the orders that studied the 14th followed a single unbreakable rule. Never name, never choose. The name chooses, but the name has chosen. Somewhere, sometime, a bearer was touched, not by light, not by darkness, but by that which exists beyond both. The Brotherhood of the Forgotten Blood lists 7 signs to identify the bearer, and all 7 are already active. 1 born in silence, birth with no crying, temporary cardiac arrest at birth. 2 recurring dreams, dreams of spirals or inverted eyes. 3 early language, then silence. Children who speak non-existent languages, then suddenly stop speaking entirely. 4 fragmented memory, a lingering feeling of having lived something vast, then forgetting it completely. 5 resistance to time, clocks break, electronics glitch. Dates become confused in their presence. 6 a voice that isn't theirs, a thought stream that feels foreign yet persistent. 7 involuntary rejection of traditional faith, an unconscious aversion to established religion or sacred texts. But why would someone like that be chosen? What makes the bearer necessary? According to the name eaters, the 14th cannot fully manifest without a human vessel, but not just any human. It must be someone of ancient spiritual lineage, with unexplained scars, with fragments of forgotten language etched into their blood. This bearer doesn't need to want it, they only need to be. And throughout life, without knowing it, they were shaped by early losses, by inexplainable isolation, by a strange connection to time and space. Documents recovered by a dissident sect of the Order of the Shut. Mouth suggests the bearer is already a public figure, someone influential, someone who speaks to the masses, someone with charisma, but carrying a weight they can't explain. An artist, a politician, a spiritual leader, or a complete stranger about to be activated. Some theorists claim the bearer is the microphone, but what will be spoken won't be theirs. What if you've already seen the bearer on TV and felt something strange, but couldn't explain it? What if the void doesn't just want to appear, but to speak? And when it does, you'll understand. Whether you want to or not, occult tradition speaks of the final eclipse of consciousness, a moment when the bearer is touched from within and the name is spoken, not as a word, but as a sound, a gesture, a vibration. What is spoken will reprogram whoever hears it. Those who hear the voice through the bearer will never be the same. They won't remember. They won't feel guilt. They will only serve a forbidden text, never published, known as the Gospel of the Fourth Silence, speaks of a forgotten prophecy. When the name speaks through flesh, the mirrors will close and the world will no longer recognize itself, for it will no longer be the world, but a copy. That is the fear of the remaining secret orders, the fear that the bearer is already ready and we are already listening. A video surfaced deep in the dark web. 5 seconds, no sound, a pixelated face staring straight into the camera. Behind it, drawn in blood, the symbol of the 14th. The strangest part, those who saw the video don't remember watching it, and yet they dream of the face. If this disturbed you, that was the point. Leave a comment. What if the end isn't the end, but the beginning of something we can't control? The moment has come. The seal is about to break. The bearer is ready, even if they don't know it yet. The voice of the void is ready to be spoken. But what happens when the name is uttered? It won't be a fire that burns. It won't be a storm that destroys. It will be a seed, a presence that grows inside each one of us. When the name echoes, the world will not explode. It will dissolve. Reality will unravel into overlapping layers of silence, forgetfulness and emptiness. The void is not absence. It is an oppressive presence, a darkness that consumes meaning, emotion, and desire. Those who hear the name will be taken to a place where time doesn't exist, where past and future collide in a single mist. And then the final word will be spoken. The last echo of the forbidden name will pass through human hearts. And those not consumed by the void will become faceless shadows in a world without meaning. This is the final prophecy. What if the void is already inside you, silencing your essence? What if there is no return, only the repetition of an eternal cycle? And if that's the truth, why do we still keep our eyes shut? The Dark Council, now divided, realizes they were nothing but pawns. Not Lucifer, not Sariel, not even the bearer truly controls what is coming. The 14th is not an angel. It is a principle, a force that transcends both heaven and hell. If this story is real, then one final question remains. Are you ready to hear the name? Or have you already heard it without knowing? And if all of this is real, why are we still closing our eyes? Write your truth below.